What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Predictions Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Monk, and Gordo, who is not here, we will be going through the card, talking about it from a DraftKings perspective. And yeah, as always, guys, we're going to go through our fight to target, our fight to fade, fighter to fade, favorite dogs, and prize picks, GPP play, cash play, value play, our dart throw, and then we'll go over our lineups for last week. Give our lineups for this week and do some quick picks, and then we will head out of here. So, yeah, guys, no Gordo this week, so it should be kind of a faster show. I'm here with Weezy and Monk. We'll start with you, Weezy. What is up? You looking forward to this card?
Yeah, it's not a bad one, man. Fun fights. A couple heavyweight fights. There's not like a lot that I wanted to fade here, too. Smaller sample size of fights. Interesting card for DraftKings. Looking forward to chopping it up with these guys.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this card more from a DraftKings perspective. Like, it's a Wednesday, and I still have 0 bets, which is very unusual considering I typically get stuff done on Sunday. But yeah, if I think from a DraftKings perspective, this card's not terrible. Monk, how about you? Looking forward to this card?
Yes, sir. What is up, fellas? Shout out to Gordo, who I believe is in Vegas. Hope you're having a good time, my guy. Yeah, there's some good fights, like Weezy said. We still don't know the salary of Christian Rodriguez and Joshua Weems, but I'm looking forward to Dolidze. I love the Kattar and Allen fight, and then even Josh Fremd. I'm interested to see what he can do this week. So some interesting plays, and yeah, a decent card from DraftKings perspective. We had 9 fights. It would have put like a 20,000 way tie for first. We got 2 more, so that'll at least help a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, leave a like, subscribe to the Pub Sports Radio, and I say we get into it. What is up, Sharpie? How you doing? All right, guys, we're going to start with the first thing here. Let's go with our fight to target here. We'll start with you, Weezy. What is your favorite fight to target on the card?
I went with the Hooper-Garcia fight this week. Both of these guys are big DraftKings scorers. As Chase is scoring like 3.97 DraftKings points a minute, Garcia scoring 4.05. Both of these guys' win conditions lead to big points, and this fight is the second most likely to end inside the distance according to the bookies. So it's a no-brainer to target both sides of this fight. Garcia can give you a ton of salary relief, and then Hooper, if he has his way and gets the win here, it probably means a lot of takedowns, a lot of control time, potentially some scrambling, submission attempts, maybe a finish. So definitely like both sides of this fight, and no matter who wins, I think they're going to be optimal.
Yeah, that is a good one. Let's see. For me, I'm going to go with the Phil Hawes, Roman Dolidze fight. I think it's like minus 120 for the fight doesn't go to decision. And really, I see this fight playing out one of 2 ways. The first way I see it playing out is Phil Hawes just having a field day on the feet, kind of like he did against Deron Wynn. I mean, Phil Hawes' striking has looked phenomenal. So I think he can rack up a ton of significant strikes, maybe mix in a takedown or 2, get some control time. But I think the volume especially is going to add up at 8,400. Don't know if he finishes Dolidze, but I still think Hawes can put up a very good score. And then on the flip side, I think if Dolidze wins, I think it's by knockout and really no other way. Phil Hawes has been finished in all 3 of his losses. So I think it's a good fight to target. Either Phil Hawes puts up a solid score in a decision, or Roman Dolidze gets that knockout. So that is another fight that I'm targeting there. Monk, how about you? What fight are you targeting for this week?
It's rare that I do this. I had a few others written down, but man, I didn't think anybody was going to take it. So I'm going to have to agree with you, Brady. That Dolidze and Hawes fight is a fantastic fight to target. Maybe my number 1, number 2 fight overall. I mean, Dolidze surprisingly scoring almost 4 a minute. Phil Hawes over 5 a minute. So 2 of the best scorers on the entire card. Both of them, Dolidze's right about 100 per win. Hawes is 113 per win. I mean, he's got 4 UFC fights, and I'll cap it off by saying, let's see this, their combined stats. They've had 7 total fights since January 1st of 2021. 3 times those fights have finished twice in the first round, and 4 of those 7 fights, either them or their opponents have made the optimal lineup. It's one of the better fights to target from that perspective. So, I mean, I love Dolidze in this one personally, but like you said, Phil Hawes can put anybody down at any time. Now, this is no Deron Wynn he's fighting this week, so do not expect 130, 40 points or whatever he scored last time. But I do like Dolidze here, and I love this fight for a fight to target.
You are not wrong. This is definitely not Deron Wynn. All right. Preston in the chat saying, I'm donating $25 to the poker tournament. Yeah, if you guys have not signed up for the poker tournament, be sure to do so. I think it starts at 8, so in about 50 minutes. I think there's about only 26 people on there right now. So the chances of winning are not bad. All right, we'll move on to the next thing. We have the fight to fade. And like Weezy said, like this is one that I kind of struggled with. I think every single fight on this card is in play. But if I had to pick one, I guess I'm going to go with the Max Griffin Tim Means fight. I do like Max Griffin to win this fight, and honestly, I could potentially see him finishing Tim Means, and that's why I don't want to completely fade it. But this is probably my least favorite fight on the entire card. I don't really have much interest in Tim Means. I feel like if he wins, it's probably a decision and a very close one. I like Max Griffin to go out there, like I said, potentially put Means out, or hurt him, drop him, and maybe even mix in some takedowns as well. Just 8,800. There are some other fighters that do look like up in that range, like Waldo, Cortes-Acosta. I think he has first round upside. Josh Fremd, I think he has finish upside. Lima, I think he has first round upside. Chase Super. Just a lot of other guys I do like in that area, but again, not a fight I'm going to completely fade, but if I had to pick one, it would be that one. Monk, how about you? What is your fight to fade for this week?
That was my number one fight. I will not double you up again. However, I will give you the main event of the evening. Like you said, not a lot to choose from here. I was thinking Arlovski and Lima, but man, that's a tough one to fade. So I'll give you Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen, 8,000 and 8,200. I liked this fight at first, but digging into the numbers, outside of the last fight, guys, where Arnold Allen smashed Dan Hooker in the first round, he scores 70 points, less than 71 points per win. That's it. Over 8 UFC wins before this past fight. 2.38 points per minute. I mean, Calvin Kattar on the other side, not much better, to be honest. 2.69 points a minute, 97 per win. And these are not numbers that are going to make the optimal lineup too often. I mean, it has a better chance at 8,000 and 8,200 than if it was, in the 9,000s or whatnot. But personally, I like Arnold Allen in this fight. But I also like this fight to go to decision. And that's the main reason I do not I'm not going to be rostering a ton of this fight for GPPs. I will plan to be well under the field to this one. Both of them give up a ton of points. I know Calvin Kattar, his numbers are screwed forever because of one fight, his fight against Max Holloway. We don't have to go into the stats for that one. I mean, he single-handedly killed Calvin Kattar's stat lines for life. So you can't really go off of that. I just tend to think this one is going to go to decision, and I don't think it's going to score very well, guys. I mean, we might be 80 points, 90 points in a 5-round fight. That is not going to get it done. So give me the slight fade on the main event.
Yeah, I think you're getting pretty different there. I mean, I agree that if Arnold Allen wins this fight, he's not typically a good scorer outside of that one fight. But I want to see. Weezy, how about you? What fight are you fading for this week? I know it's a tough one to find a fight to fade.
Yeah, it was, but at least it's different than yours. I went with Gore Fremd. Even though it's a small sample size, these guys are scoring 1.97 and 2.34 DraftKings points per minute, respectively. I don't see this fight going to the grappling offense, so it could be one of the lower scoring fights on the slate if we don't get a quick finish here. Gore is a guy who really doesn't wrestle at all. Fremd is a good wrestler with a good wrestling background, but Gore's a guy with really good takedown defense. He's a good athlete. He's strong. He's big for the weight class. So, he's not a guy you necessarily want to just chain wrestle out there either. So I could see this being a low volume striking match. And if it winds up going the distance, it probably doesn't go, get on that optimal lineup or even really sniff it. So I think it's a safer one to fade. But like I said, man, on this slate, really hard to fade any fight.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's move on to our fighter to fade. There's actually two that stick out. I'm just going to go with Andrei Arlovski here at 7,300. It's a heavyweight fight, and typically you want to target these heavyweight fights, but Andrei Arlovski has not had a finish since 2016. It's been a while, and since 2016 he's had like almost 20 fights. It's been a while since he went out there and knocked somebody out. It's just not his style nowadays. He's now 43 years old. I personally think he does get stopped in this fight. Even if Andrei Arlovski was to win this fight, I kind of see it playing out, very boring, him, doing a lot of sticking to the outside, and probably a robbery win if he does win. That he's been pulling off these robbery wins as of late, and I don't see him scoring much. I don't see much takedown upside or finish upside for Arlovski here. So going to be fading him at 7,300. Weezy, who are you fading this week?
Yeah, I'm fading DraftKings cancer Andrei Arlovski here. It doesn't get any worse than this guy. You know what's hilarious? This is actually really, really funny. Find me one guy on any UFC card who has the smallest odds to win inside the distance or win in the first round, and then also find that person to be a heavyweight. This is one case where you will find that situation. Nobody on this entire slate is less favored to finish the fight inside the distance than Andrei Arlovski. He's a heavyweight. He's got the worst first-round finish odds on the card. You want to laugh your ass off? Monk just told you that you should fade Arnold Allen in the main event, who's fighting for 5 rounds because he scores about 71 points per DraftKings win outside of that Hooker fight. Dude, in Andrei Arlovski's last 6 DraftKings wins, he's averaging 59.53 points. I mean, less than 60 points in a win. That's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to score that few points in a DraftKings win. Almost impossible. He's done it 6 times in a row. Yeah, this guy is the worst DraftKings player alive. I mean, even when he wins, he sinks your lineup. So, Andrei Arlovski, congratulations. The first heavyweight to ever have the lowest odds on an entire card to finish the fight inside the distance and in the first round. Terrible.
Man, yeah, congrats, Andrei Arlovski. That is a phenomenal achievement. Monk, who are you fading this week?
It really is. It's right up there with Caitlin Chukagi and 11 wins and no finishes. I mean, those two are neck and neck in the Hall of Fame. The mediocrity wing of the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna get different because that is the obvious one for sure. I'm gonna go Tresean Gore. I mean, after what we've seen in the past 2 fights, how could you put money on this guy, put him in your lineup? Anything except expect him to win or to lose his 3rd straight, rather. He scores 2.3 points a minute, allows double that. In his last 2 fights, let's see, he got smashed by Cody Brundage, the MMA Engine guy there, Cody Brundage, right after the old interview that we had with him. Got KO'd him in the first round. He doubled up his strikes, 34% control time in that very, very low number of minutes fight that he had. And then Brian Battle, that one went all 3. He also got doubled up in strikes, had 1 takedown landed against him. A bit of control time here. He did land 2 takedowns of his own, but that fight really not too close, to be honest. Brundage smashed him, like I said. He scored 114 in that fight, made the optimal lineup. Brian Battle scored 87.2 in a decision when he was 8,300. I believe he made the optimal lineup. Meanwhile, Josh Fremd had a really tough go against Fluffy Hernandez, and that is a damn good loss that he had. It's aging well, I should say, because he did land a takedown on Fluffy, and he had almost 18% control time in those 15 minutes on Fluffy as well, which, I'll tip my hat to that for sure, because Hernandez looks like an absolute beast and the real deal since that fight. So give me the big fade on Tresean Gore. I think Josh Fremd is probably a bit too much for him. I could be wrong here, and Gore might come to prove me wrong. But after those 2 losses, man, I just can't back this guy at all. So big fade on Mr. Vicious.
Really
Did I say that sarcastically enough?
Is that really his nickname, Mr. Vicious?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if Monk made that shit up, he would be like goated immediately. But unfortunately, that's on Tresean Gore for the Mr. Vicious nickname.
Yep.
He's about as vicious as Andrei Arlovski at this point. But,
yeah, right.
Yeah. What's up, Razor? How you doing, buddy? So let's go to the next section here. We got our favorite dog. And yeah, there's a couple that really stick out to me. I'm curious to hear what you guys have. We'll start with you, Weezy. Who's your favorite dog for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a real obvious one. Calvin Kattar, the Boston finisher here at 8,000. He is the most expensive dog on the roster, but he's fighting for 5 rounds. Kattar is averaging about 2.73 DraftKings points per minute. That's not fantastic, but look, he's almost impossible to finish. So you're probably getting a full 5 rounds out of this guy, a full 25 minutes. And at 27.3, or I mean, at 2.73 DraftKings points a minute, that's going to be about 67 points in a loss, 97 points in a win. So for a guy that is fighting for 5 rounds, that's very durable. And this is a very well-matched main event. I think that it's a safe way to get an underdog in your lineup that could have a nice floor in terms of really kind of especially in cash lineups. I think Kattar or Allen's a fine choice this week.
Yep, I think that's a good dog there. One that I definitely considered. For me, I'm gonna go with Khalil Rountree at 7,900. I mean, this guy, if he shows up, he's one of the most terrifying fighters you'll ever watch. This guy has so much power in his hands. I believe he's finished all but one of his UFC wins, and the one he didn't finish was against Eric Anders, where he almost killed him in that fight. If he shows up and he's on point, like why couldn't he go out there and knock out Dustin Jacoby? Jacoby is the better striker and is going to be the minute winner, but Rountree doesn't need to win minutes here. He can land a huge shot or in the smaller cage. And if he does win, I do expect it to be in the first or second round. It just depends. Is the Rountree that fought Roberson and Andrews going to show up, or is the Rountree that fought Prochnio going to show up? We're going to have to see. But if Rountree does show up, I think he can go out here and get a finish. So I don't mind some Rountree at 7,900 for that finish upside. Monk, how about you? Who's your favorite dog on the slate?
I already spoke about it briefly, so I'll keep it short. Again, I love Roman Dolidze this week against Phil Hawes. Coming into this one, I assumed Phil Hawes was going to be the taller guy. He's not. According to UFC stats anyway, which, believe that if you want to. Dolidze is 6'2" to Phil Hawes is 6 feet. Hawes does have a 1-inch reach advantage, but I was not expecting that size difference there. I think Roman Dolidze is by far the toughest guy that Phil Hawes has fought. Hawes has wins over Malkoun, Imavov, 2 great wins, by the way, win over Daukaus, lost to Chris Curtis, and then the aforementioned Duran win, which, Duran win does Duran win things. Dolidze, just 7,800 is fantastic. 4 points a minute. Like I said, he only allows 1.41 points per minute, and 51 is all he gave up to Tresean Gore total with bonus points in that loss. Which according to the stats was a lot, is a very, very close fight. But he has wins over Ibragimov, John Alon, which aren't great, then Staropoli, and then Kyle Daukaus, really a surprising, very early finish over Daukaus. So I think Dolidze is super tough. I think if Phil Hawes doesn't finish him inside the first 2 or 3 minutes, this could be a Dolidze finish very easily, or it could be Dolidze's holding Hawes up against the cage and just, clinch work for 15 minutes straight, get that W. 9,000 or 90 points, maybe 95 points at 7,800 could be good enough to make the optimal lineup there. So I love this salary. It's great salary voodoo to play. And I love Roman Dolidze as a dog this week.
Yeah, on StreamYard, sometimes I like going back and looking at my banners that I've done in the past. And there actually is one with Phil Hawes. We said that loser has to dye their hair, Phil Hawes, which is terrible.
Nice.
That is a terrible haircut, Phil Hawes. You need to fix that. I mean, in the win fight, like his hair was like dyed red, it looked like, because it was so bloody. But let's see what else we got here. We got loser has to dye their hair Sugar Sean Rainbow. Loser has to come on stream with a Douglas Silva de Andrade rat tail. Oh my gosh. Loser has to escape out of full mount against Parker Porter.
Jesus.
Loser has to get a Caio Bahaio neck tattoo.
Oh, that's a good one.
Free Spirit. Loser has to rewatch Felice Herrig versus Karolina Kovacevic for 4 hours straight.
My God.
I mean, look at, and we also have some classic ones here. Public service announcement: Justin Bieber, you are not fooling anyone. That's classic. Oh, we got the classic, insane, absurd.
Oh yeah,
ludicrous and
ludicrous.
Yeah, these are hilarious. I'm always going to keep these, but yeah, that just reminded me of that. But we're going to now move on to our prize pick section. And honestly, guys, typically a lot sticking out, but this week I'm just not finding really anything. I found one that I like, and I'm going to go with this one first because I don't want anybody to take it. I'm going to go with Arnold Allen over 80.5 significant strikes. And I don't think Arnold Allen has the best output at all, but this is a 5-round fight. And I think this does go 5 rounds like Monk. And I think he will get at least 80.5 significant strikes or more in this one. So give me Arnold Allen over on the significant strikes. But really, that's the only thing that stuck out. I'm curious to hear what you guys have. Monk, anything sticking out on prize picks this week?
Yeah, man. I'll go with just the first one I'll go with the first one. I got Dustin Jacoby over 49.5 significant strikes. I think this one goes a bit longer, maybe even into the 3rd round. And this is, 2 kickboxers. I mean, the guy averages, if you bear with me for just a second, if I could freaking find him. Where is he? Jacoby. I mean, he averages per fight significant strikes. He's at 79.54. Sorry for the delay. And we're getting these extremely low 49.5 significant strikes. So give me that one there, over 49.5 for Jacoby.
All right, so I'm going over on the Allen strikes. Monk is going over on the Jacoby strikes. Weezy, anything sticking out on prize picks?
I looked at one and I it makes sense to me. Marcos Rogério de Lima under 50.5 significant strikes. You know how many times Marcos Rogério de Lima has has landed 51 or more significant strikes in any UFC fight? Once. 68 against Blagoy Ivanov. You know the last time that he did anything, he's only landed over 30 significant strikes in a fight once, and it was the last fight against Blagoy Ivanov. So this guy either gets out of there in the first round and a half, or he could go the full 3. And the thing is that Arlovski does absorb a lot of significant strikes, but from pillow-fisted fighters who couldn't knock out anybody. This Rogério de Lima, there are not a lot of guys on the face of the planet that can absorb more than 30 significant strikes from this man. One of them is a guy who was stabbed in the heart and not only lived to tell about it, but came back to fight in a cage against grown heavyweight men. That man, Blagoy Ivanov, Bulgaria, stand up. So, yeah, dude, other than that, that's the only guy that has absorbed more than 30 significant strikes from Rogério de Lima. So under 50.5 sounds like a good number to me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if he's landing that much, there's a really good chance Arlovski's had been knocked out by then. So I do like that as well. All right, guys, if you guys have not used promo code PubSports, go sign up on Prize Picks. Lots of money to be made on there. All right, guys, we'll keep moving on. We have the favorite GPP play here. And, speaking of Marcos Rogério de Lima, I'm going to go with him in this fight here as my GPP play. I think he has first round upside. I believe he has 6 finishes in the first round, 5 of those being by knockout, 1 by sub. And like you said, Weezy, like Arlovski's going to decision, but with guys that just don't have that heavyweight power. Jake Collier does not have heavyweight power. Jared Vanderaa doesn't. Chase Sherman does kind of, but he kind of sucks. I don't think de Lima sucks, and I think de Lima has a very good chance to knock out Arlovski in the first round here. Arlovski has been knocked out 11 times, finished 13 times, and I think Arlovski is getting a finished loss here. I mean, the guy's 43 years old. I believe he's the oldest fighter on the roster, and Marcos Rogério de Lima, this guy hits like a truck. So I like de Lima as the GPP play. If this fight does get past that first round, it's probably going to be a bust, but I like that first round upside of de Lima here. Weezy, who are you liking as far as the GPP play goes?
I'm going to go with Waldo Cortes-Acosta. He is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. I think he's a high upside option here going against a terrible fighter who makes awful in-fight decisions. Waldo put up over 8 DraftKings points per minute in his debut. And personally, I think he could beat 7 shades of shit out of Vanderaa and get a finish here. This guy is just not any good, man. And even if I thought that Vanderaa had an IQ that was in the double digits even, and he would try to take down Waldo Cortes-Acosta here and win the fight, by using his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that we've heard a lot about. I don't think that that's going to happen. This is a guy who, outside of the Harry Hunsucker DWCS fight, has attempted exactly 0 takedowns. And most of those fights are against guys with absolutely 0 ground games, which makes Jared Vanderaa somebody with 0 fight IQ. So, yeah, I'm going with Waldo. I think he's going to beat the shit out of this dude and send him packing.
Yeah, these are spots in the past that have really hurt me because you do the tape and you play it out in your head and you see Jared Vanderaa has a clear path to victory. Take this guy down. Waldo can be taken down easily. And then you bet on him thinking, hey, he's going to go out there and take him down. And then you just see him strike with them for 15. And it's going to end bad. Like if you're not taking down Chase Sherman, how can you trust this guy to go out there and take down Waldo? So I totally agree. I think Vanderaa could win, but he's not smart enough to go out there and take him down. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as far as the GPP play goes?
Man, we don't have salaries for this guy yet, but I'm picking him anyways. Christian Rodriguez should be $9,500 this week. That should he's one of the widest odds on the card. I believe the Iron Turtle is 9,300. Rodriguez is wider odds over compared to the Iron Turtle. So he should be 9,500. I'm assuming he's 95 because DraftKings loves to give us the most expensive salaries. Long story short, this guy looked decent. All right, he didn't look terrible, I should say, against JSP. JSP is a very, very tough individual to have your UFC debut against. I don't know why I said against. I've never said that in my life. against. I think I've been listening to Gordo too much, maybe. Shout out to Gordo again. JSP, though, I mean, got taken down twice by Rodriguez. And he did get, 7% control, some control time on JSP. He did end up losing that fight, but he scored almost 30 points in a unanimous decision loss, and JSP scored less than 100. So against the debuting guy, JSP did not go off like he has in the past, outside of that Damon Jackson fight. But Christian Rodriguez did not look terrible. Meanwhile, Joshua Weems in his DWCS fight went up against Fernie Garcia, and that fight lasted 2 minutes, and Joshua Weems was on the floor. He was done for. He got knocked, did get knocked down in that one. Tons of control time against him. Landed a few more strikes than Garcia did, but Garcia put him down. So I'm going with Christian Rodriguez this week. The big DWCS fade here. I know they're both from that, but I just think Rodriguez has him covered. I'm going with the guy with one more UFC fight than Joshua Weems and as far as experience. And 9,500 is a fantastic salary to play. So give me Rodriguez here. I assumed it would either be him or Rogério de Lima for the Uncle Weezy ass shaving of the week. So I'm right up there with that one on Rodriguez.
Yep. Curious to see where they put his salary. I'm hoping they mess it up and put it something cheaper, but if they're smart, they probably would put it at 9,500 or 94. Let's go to our favorite cash play, and I'll kick this one off. I love Calvin Kattar in cash this week. I mean, this guy throws a ton of volume, 5 rounds to work with. Legendary toughness, durability. The guy's absorbed well over 1,000 strikes. He's never been knocked down. He's never been knocked out. I think he wins this fight, but at the very worst, I think he does go 5 rounds, and I think he does put up a ton of volume in this matchup. So I love Calvin Kattar. I love these tough guys that can go the full distance, put up a nice floor, and that is always what I'm looking for in cash games. Monk, who are you liking in cash this week?
I'm liking Chase the Dream Hooper. What a great nickname compared to Mr. Vicious. I love when nicknames just roll off the tongue like that. Chase Hooper, man, honestly, against Steve Garcia. Garcia got manhandled by Mahashate in his previous fight. First round KO, almost a quick win bonus. I mean, finished him in less than a minute and a half. His only win in the UFC. He also lost to Luis Pena, which, that's just, Luis Pena can go kick rocks forever. But Charlie Ontiveros, his only win in the UFC, and that is a trash win. Is he the American bad boy?
Yes,
that is a garbage win, I'm sorry, Steve Garcia. I'm glad you got the win, but it's a trash win, and you shouldn't get any credit for it. Meanwhile, Chase Hooper, I mean, Daniel Tamer's a trash win. Peter Barrett's also a trash win. But the Felipe Colares is not such a trash win. He looked great in that fight. Third round KO. When is the last time a third round knockout in which you only get 45 bonus points? This kid scored 142 points against Felipe Colares, 4 takedowns, landed 60 strikes, 54% control time. I mean, this whole fight took place on the ground. There was a total of almost 87% control time in this entire fight that lasted 13 minutes. I think Chase Hooper is making the necessary steps to level his game up between fight to fight. And I just love him against Steve Garcia here. I think the salary is warranted. I will be paying the 9,200, and I will be looking for Chase Hooper to not only show off in this fight, but hopefully finish Steve Garcia, in any round, because he's proven he can score, up to, I mean, he's probably not going to score 140 points again. Let's not get it twisted, but he could, over 100, 110 at 9,200. That's looking absolutely fantastic on this card. So give me Chase Hooper.
Yeah, Hooper has a ton of upside in a win.
Yeah.
Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking in cash games?
I'm going to go with Marcos Rogério de Lima. When this guy does finish fights, it's always under 1.5. So when somebody's getting under 1.5 finishes, that they're going to be scoring in the triple digits. And let me just get his numbers up here, and I can show you guys. Well, I can't show you on the screen, but I can tell you what this guy is doing in his wins. 95.6, 106.38, 107.66, 79.63, 94.92, 129.74, 113.14, 127.19. Let's have some fun. Let's just find the average of those. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in those. Oh, damn it. All right, never mind. I'll come back to me on that one. I'll get you the average, but it's a lot. It's well over 100 points when this guy wins. He's fighting a 43-year-old man who has looked okay. I think if De Lima fights his fight, he gets the win. He gets it quickly, and he puts you in contention to potentially win a tournament.
Yep, makes sense to me. I like that call.
103.65, I believe.
Thank you. That's huge, right?
Gigantic. 8
Yeah.
wins. Oof.
Very
Huge.
good.
Absolutely.
I like it. All right, we'll move on to our favorite value play. We'll start with you, Monk. Who is sticking out for some value this week?
Honestly, I think this dude's going to go under the radar. I'm not, I often get him and Cody Brundage confused, but I'll try not to in this one. Cody Durden, man, honestly, he might not be, he is the guy that fought Arichi Lang, so he might not be the best guy with certain post-fight comments. Could just be some adrenaline, who knows, but still, I'll back him as a little under the radar play this week at 7,700. I think a lot of people are going to just, he's easy to skip over. We'll just say that, but he scores really well as far as DraftKings go. 4.5 points per minute. This is over 5 UFC fights, 2 UFC wins. He's averaging just under that 103.65 we said for De Lima. He's averaging 102.68. He does give up a ton when he loses, so he is out here getting finished both by sub. But he is fighting a guy that has no career submissions in Carlos Mota, no DWCS fight, so I have no stats for the guy. His strength of schedule in his last 5 is not the best. While Cody Durden's is surprisingly good in his last fight, he smashed JP Bays, smashed Arichi Lang. Actually, not that was a pretty close fight. I shouldn't say smashed. Took Chris Gutierrez to a draw. Probably one of his better fights. Chris Gutierrez has proven extremely tough. And then he lost to, Muhammad Makayev in less than a minute, but Makayev is proving to be extremely talented. So I think Durden's just going to fly under the radar here at 7,700. He's very easy to get to. His DraftKings upside is huge because this could be a very high variance fight and Mota could go down early. That said, it might go the opposite way. Durden could easily get finished here. So, but like I said, he's only ever been finished by sub and Mota has never subbed anyone. So the chances of that I think are a bit smaller, but give me Cody Durden to fly under the radar as a bit of a low-owned value play here.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think he will be flying under the radar this week. For me, I'm going to go with somebody I do think will be flying under the radar as well, and that's going to be Ugly Man Joseph Holmes, sitting at 6,900. A couple reasons for this play that I don't mind it at this price tag. The first reason is I just have no interest in playing Jun-yong Park. I know Park has some solid volume, maybe some takedown upside, but there's so many other people I like in that range, especially with Rodriguez coming in this week. But yeah, Joseph Holmes, 6,900. I mean, he has a 100% finish rate. He's never won a fight by decision. He's super dangerous, has power, and has a very good submission game as well. Park has a very good chin, but he has been knocked out before, and he has been submitted, I think, once or twice also. So if there is a finish in this fight, I think Holmes is very live to be the one getting that finish in at 6,900. I don't hate it there. I think at the very least, it's going to play out a lot closer than those salaries do indicate. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite value play this week?
Yeah, I like the mean machine, Steve Garcia, this week. Steve is scoring over 4 DraftKings points a minute, and he's shown 100% takedown defense thus far in the UFC. And we do know that Chase can get the fight to the ground without necessarily having to get a takedown. He's Imanari rolls. He'll pull guard. He'll try to take the back standing. He'll ask you to lay down. He'll do a bunch of different things in order to get the fight where he wants it. But Hooper doesn't. If he doesn't look as good as he did against Hilaris, this could be a really tough matchup. And at 7,000, this is a super high upside pick that saves you a ton of money here. Garcia, look, he's got a lot of power on the feet. He's got a lot of power in that left hand. And Chase Hooper's striking defense is sub 40%. So he could absorb some really heavy shots here. And he might take a lot of chances to try to get in close on Steve. And Steve's a good grappler in his own right anyway. So I think he's really live here. I know how slippery Pete Barrett is, and nobody really kind of talks about that enough. Everyone's like, oh, Chase looked really bad in that Barrett fight. And if he looks that bad here against Garcia, he's going to get smoked. But look, Pete is slippery. And that's why it took him all over 12 and a half minutes to get that finish via leg lock. But he finally got it against an extremely slippery dude. So I think that he might be able to pull this one out late. He's always live because of that submission game to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But I do think that at 16 or at 7,000 for Garcia, you got a guy with a ton of upside going against a guy who's had okay performances against really pretty low-level bantamweights thus far. So laying minus 300 on this guy, paying big money for him, yeah, there's some upside, but the opponent's got a lot of upside too, and he's $2,200 less this week.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think you said it perfectly. This is not slippery Pete Barrett. And yes, Pete Barrett needs some more credit, right? People don't talk about how slippery I mean, one of the slipperiest guys in the UFC. I think he's cut now, but he was
so slippery.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they like let that guy grease himself down and nobody would do anything about it, and be like, hey, can we like check him in the back for grease? And people are like, hey, dude, we checked him. I don't know how he gets that slippery. But shout out slippery Pete Barrett.
They couldn't even put Vaseline on him. They couldn't. They would just slide crazy, right off. Man.
They shouldn't let him put Vaseline on his face. It just like goes in the pores and then it comes out every other pore on his body, and you just can't even get a hold of the guy.
Fucking SpongeBob Pete pants, man.
All right, we'll move on to our dart throw. I'll kick this one off, and I just came across some information which doesn't make me feel good about this dart throw. But it's Jared Vanderaa. I mean, if he goes out here, and I'm not saying he does, if he goes out here, if he fights smart for the first time in his career, gets this fight down to the mat, he's supposedly a black belt. And honestly, like when he gets on top, his ground and pound is very good, but he's going to have to go in there and get the takedown. The reason I don't like that as much anymore, I came across this picture on Twitter. I don't know if you can see it, but Jared Vanderaa has a new look, and I got to get Weezy's thoughts on this. Weezy, this mustache, I don't know.
Dude, he kind of looks like the old super fans that you used to see on Saturday Night Live who would say the Bears.
Exactly.
It looks like Todd O'Connor.
It's fucking Hurricane Dick
by George Wendt, God rest his fat soul. He kind of looks like a cross between Kevin James and George Wendt right there. And I don't know. That is bizarre, man. He looks happy.
I mean, I feel like this is a poor fight IQ choice, though.
Dude,
and first of all,
IQ and fight IQ are both in question.
Take it from a bald guy. That hairline is super sus, as the kids say.
I didn't even talk about that.
Look at that thing goes way up here, bro. Way up here. I don't know. Shave it, Jared.
Get some help. Bro. Get some help. All right, but yeah, that's my dart throw. We'll see what happens. Weezy, how about you? Who you liking as a dart throw this week?
You know what? It could be an interesting one. And yes, some people are going to say Uncle Weezy is a massive prick for taking what will be the most expensive guy on the roster and calling him a dart throw. But Christian Rodriguez, who is the most expensive guy and is the biggest favorite on the card, is your Uncle Weezy's dart throw. People don't really know who this guy is yet. He's going to announce himself in a big way. He had a really, look, two guys, Christian Rodriguez, Josh Fremd, both had just the worst possible matchups that you could have on short notice coming into the UFC. Guys that are just cardio kings in Anthony Hernandez and Jonathan Pierce. But look, I was as impressed in a loss as I have been in a very long time with Christian Rodriguez. And I don't think a lot of people are going to pay up for him because there's two heavyweights in there in Waldo and in Marcos Rogério de Lima, who have a lot of finishing equity, who their fights are, supposed to finish inside the distance here. I think Rodriguez is going to be a great play. He can mix in the wrestling. He throws a lot of volume, and the guy has finished every single fight except for one in his wins. 3 submissions, 3 knockouts. The guy can get it done a number of different ways, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this kid go in there, get his first UFC win. It's a long time coming for Christian, and I can't wait to see what's next for him.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I do like me some Rodriguez. And again, curious to see where they do price him this week. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a dart throw?
Again, much like Cody Durden, I think this guy's going to be even more passed over. And that's Tim Means at 7,400 going against Max Griffin. We haven't really talked about this fight. I think we're in agreement that it's probably going to be a fight. I don't know if you guys said it was a fight to fade. I'm not really. Yeah. So I definitely agree with you there. But honestly, if I'm taking a side, it's the mean side. If this goes to decision, which I think it can, there's no way I'm paying 8,800 for Max Griffin. I mean, he might score. He averages 89 points in a win. He averages 69 points when he wins by decision. I'm not interested in that. He also has a losing UFC record, Max Griffin. So that is a big red flag. 6-7. That's a lot of fights to have a losing record in the UFC. Meanwhile, Tim Means is closer to 39 than he is 38. However, what's his ownership going to be like, guys, this week? I mean, there's only 11 fights, so probably under 20, under 16%. I mean, if that's the case, that's pretty low owned as far as I'm concerned for somebody with the experience like that Tim Means has. 3.32 points a minute. That's 8th highest on the card. 91.54. If he scores 91 points in a win at 7,400, that's probably optimal for sure. He's also $1,400 under his average salary. Absolutely love that. 64% of his 14 UFC wins, he's put up over 90, 42% over 100. I mean, the guy can score when he wins. He did lose to Kevin Holland, nothing to be ashamed of there. That's Kevin freaking Holland. He beat Nicholas Dalby, who is a very enigmatic fighter to fight. I mean, D-Rod lost to him. He beat Mike Perry as well, so he's got some quality wins in the past few. I think he can get it done against Griffin. I think he's a great dart throw for 7,400.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be super low on the Dirty Bird. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the lineups for last week, and then we'll give our lineups for this week. And in fourth place was Gordo, the guy that is not here. He had Mukayev 121, Krylov 127, Makhachev 119, Brady 23, Dillashaw 4, and Gadzhiev 30 for 426. In third place was Weezy with Jan 71 in a loss. That is very good. Kyle Bahayo 75, Krylov 127, Makhachev 119, Dillashaw 4, and then Lino Landsberg 42. In second place was Monk, Mukayev 121, Gamrot 38, Krylov 127, Makhachev 119, Dillashaw 4, and O'Malley 65 for 475. And then for me, first place, Mukayev 121, Krylov 127, Sterling 151, Makhachev 119, O'Malley 65, and Dillashaw 4 for 589.53. Probably one of my better lineups of the year. And I think the optimal lineup was instead of Dillashaw, below Muhammad in there, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Monk?
I do believe so. Give me half a second.
Or Dariush, right?
It was Mukayev, Krylov, Sterling, Makhachev, Muhammad, and then O'Malley. If O'Malley doesn't win, Karol Hossa makes optimal lineup instead of Mukayev. So
I was close there. All right, and then we'll go over the current standings. There's a new leader. There's a new leader in the current standings. In fourth place, we got Monk with 14,227. In third place is Weezy with 14,308. In second place is Gordo with 14,733. And first place is me with 14,804. Gordo 71 behind the leader. Weezy is 495 behind the leader, and then Monk is 577 behind the leader. I never thought it would catch up to Gordo, but 35 cards in, and I think we have 7 cards left.
So I think it's 7. I hope. I need all 7 to try to catch you, sons of bitches.
Yeah, still a lot of cards to go. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it shakes out. But you guys have your lineups for this week, and I'll say it right now. My lineup is going to change because I need to get Christian Rodriguez in. But right now I'm going with Fremd, Hooper, Lima. Doing the main event stack, Kattar, Allen, and then I'm going to go with Joseph Holmes down low. Weezy, do you have your lineup for this week?
Yes. So up top, I've got Waldo, Cortes-Acosta, and Marcos Rogério de Lima. I've got Josh Fremd in there. I've got the Boston finisher, Calvin Kattar. I've got Phil Hawes, and then the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. No remaining salary. I'm stacking it up to the full 50,000 to get an edge on all you pricks.
Let's go. Monk, how about you? What's your lineup for this week?
I'm assuming Rodriguez is going to be 9,500. So I've got Christian Rodriguez, Chase Hooper, Josh Fremd, Roman Dolidze, the Lady Killer, Cody Durden, and Joseph Holmes.
All right, sounds good. And I think, Monk, you're just probably going to, I don't know, Monk, you seem to change your lineup every time, like a couple times a week.
So I just give points away every time I do it.
Yeah, so I think we'll all be probably changing our lineups once or twice this week, especially with Rodriguez. But yeah, guys, what we'll do now is we'll give our quick picks, and then we will head out of here. I have a poker tournament to attend in about 13 minutes. Give me Calvin Kattar in the main event. Give me Max Griffin, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, Josh Fremd, Khalil Rountree, Phil Hawes, Carlos Mata, De Lima, Jun-yong Park, Christian Rodriguez, and then Chase Hooper. Weezy, what are your quick picks for this week?
All right, I'm going with Calvin Kattar, Max Griffin, Waldo Cortes-Acosta is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Josh Fremd, Dustin Jacoby, Phil Hawes, Marcos Rogério de Lima, the Iron Turtle, Jun-yong Park, Chase Hooper, Christian Rodriguez, and like the Durden Mota fight. I'm picking Mota, but I mean, flip a coin. I think that one's going to be really close.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be aligned a lot closer. Monk, how about you? Who are you picking for this week?
I'll go Christian Rodriguez, Cody Durden, Chase Hooper, Jun-yong Park, Marcos Rogério de Lima, Phil Hawes, Justin Jacoby, Josh Fremd, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, Tim Means, and then Arnold Allen.
All right. Sounds good, guys. We did it. Uncle Weezy, let the people know where they can find you. What you have going on throughout the week. Are you doing some Ask Weezy tonight?
Yes, sir. Ask Weezy. I think I'll go 10 or 10:30 Central Time. Check out the I'll put out the YouTube link on YouTube or on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Put the YouTube link out on Twitter. Check me out on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. Check me out on the MMA Engine YouTube channel and right here on Pub Sports Radio. And let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 63.
Let's do it. Monk, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the rest of the week.
Yes, sir. Good luck on your poker tournament tonight, gents. I will be actually Salary Voodoo was just posted right before this started. MMA Engine at 5:45 tonight. So check out the 3 fights that we went over for that one. Game Theory, my 11 fight breakdown of this card, DraftKings style, is going live at 7 p.m. right after this is over. We shall be certain to send a YouTube link on YouTube for that one as well. And then, yeah, that's going to do it, guys. I got Monk and Lou's happy hour coming up this Friday, and hopefully everybody enjoys the fights this weekend. Let's go.
Sounds good. Let's go. You guys can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. And yeah, guys, let's get it this week. UFC Vegas 63 should be a fun card, and best of luck. We'll talk to you